September 12th, 2019, 6:32, and this is the Snoqualmie Valley Hospital, King County Hospital District number 4, Thursday, September 12th, 2019, board meeting. Do I hear, well, first we need to call flag salute. Everybody ready for a flag? Yeah.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would the clerk do the roll call, please?
President Norris.
Here.
Vice President Herron.
Here.
Secretary Spikers.
Here.
Commissioner Pollard.
Here.
Commissioner Carter.
Here.
Thank you.
Do I hear a motion for approval of the agenda?
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll put it to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, it passes. Okay, and I don't have anything particular to offer today under communications, but I know Dr. Whitcop does.
Yielding your time to me.
I am.
All right. I did want to start off by reading a very sweet thank you note that we received from a patient as he was discharging. We want to convey our experience of having spent a couple of weeks here. Your staff of the different departments is dedicated, compassionate, and energizing, I think. Success of any hospital depends on its staff. The hospital is making a very good name for itself. Your staff of nursing, therapy, lab, social work, activities, etc. have contributed a lot in taking care of me. I would be failing in my duty if I do not convey sincere thanks for all of this. I leave the hospital with a feeling of being taken care of well. Sincere thanks to you and your staff, and wishing all of you the best in life.
Oh, that was very nice. That was
Nice.
lovely.
I wanted to bring that to you.
And they actually had all of our different services correct. That's really, in 2 weeks, that's probably better than I was in 2 years.
They did a good job, that's
That was
right.
very nice.
Just to update you, it'll be the ongoing priority about community engagement. So this month we have the opportunity to do first aid services at Doggy Stock. And in addition to well over 4,000 or 5,000 people, I think there were almost half of them had dogs with them.
Must be why it was Doggy Stock.
Yes, so had a lot of exposure to folks, a lot of conversations there, and then a booth at the Snoqualmie Block Party this weekend.
Yeah.
So I know Emma will be there, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Last
So in your,
year, so-
several of you, I see this is fun. I see that you found your toy in your packets. So this is one of, yep, there you go. This is one of the things that we hand out at the fairs. This is the block party is something that we try and find kid things for. And then in October, we'll be participating with a YMCA trick or treat event. And this will be what we hand out there because it's reflective. Trick or treat.
Yeah,
But,
nice.
I will take the hit. It was my idea to put in your packet so that if you want to take it, so have fun with it.
That's a great idea, especially for Halloween.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so that'll be handed out. On September 24th, we will be visited by the Washington House of Representatives Health and Wellness Committee. They do a rural hospital tour every fall for the legislative session. And so we will be one of 5 stops that they make. So it'll be a contingency of around 23 folks coming in between the legislators, their staff, some WISHA folks, some folks, sorry, not WISHA, HCA, Healthcare Authority comes along with. So it'd be a great opportunity to showcase what we have, answer their questions. Of course, they're collecting information, collecting insight, knowledge to be used for the legislative session. So it's a great opportunity for us to share some of the things that we hope that they'll represent from our perspective. So coming up there. We also took the opportunity to have our operations team receive a training this month on, the topic was cognitive bias for safety culture, and this was from Darcy Jaffe, who used to be the director of nurses at Harborview and is now, is now with WISH as their chief quality officer. So I think it was really a very positive experience. Everybody learned a lot. It's an opportunity to really assess how it is that you approach your staff and the way the things your staff does and why they do it, and to be able to frame it in a way to understand why something went well, why something didn't go well, but how to approach it and how to be productive in the way that you handle it. It's really about no matter how you do it, your outcome is that you create a safety culture. So that's what you're looking for. So really well received. Then on August 29th, we had a celebration for all of our staff who in the last year or so have completed or initiated either a degree or a certification program. And we had 47 of our staff who were in that list. So we were astounded. When the idea came up, we thought, I think we thought that we'd find 15 or 18. We just wanted to highlight those. And when we started asking around, 47 of our staff are doing something to advance their education or their status in some way. Yeah. So in fact, a list of those, Jen has it right now, so she has the flyer. So we had a cupcake social.
Yeah.
So it come and go, so staff just kind of came from their work site, came down, got a cupcake, had a chance to honor this. We had a slideshow that was going that showed all the people who were being honored, and then a list of the things that they were doing. And so the intention was several-fold. One was to identify and recognize and honor those people who had done the hard work of getting and to advancing their education while still working. We also wanted to encourage their colleagues to do the same. And so we saw that happening. We saw staff asking one another, I didn't know you did this. How did you do this? What was it like? You know, and then this room divides into two. So the party was in the other room, and in this room, we had representatives from 6 colleges or 6 schools who do a lot of online education and with their healthcare associated and intended for the working student and the adult learner. So again, people would come out of the cupcake and slip in here and talk to the folks and learn a lot about opportunities. So.
Do we offer
really
more of a
successful.
flexible schedule for those that are in?
We offer, we have a scholarship program, so a tuition assistance program. And so we have that, and we have a number of folks who take advantage of that. Not all 47. Not all 47 took advantage of that, so a lot of them, they were self-funding their experience. But we do a lot of accommodation of schedules in order to help somebody get there. Yeah. We had one lab tech who, the school that they were going to allow them to study remotely and take their classes, but expected them to come on campus for their tests. And there was, it was like an Oregon campus. And so we were able to convince them to let somebody here proctor all the tests. So again, did that accommodation and just little things like that. So anyway, it was really a positive experience. Karen and Rachel led that effort. So lots of pictures and fun times. Keep moving on so we don't keep the agenda moving. The community health needs assessment. So we do have an engagement that has been put in place for that, and is with Burt Consulting out of Seattle. And it is to do a formal community health needs assessment for our service area. We're able to get a very reasonable rate from them, and the reason for the reasonable rate is because they are the same group that did the community needs assessment for the Snoqualmie Valley Alliance.
Okay.
So I didn't use the right word. Snoqualmie Valley Community
Community
Network.
The network,
Yeah,
that's the
thank
one
you.
that,
So they're the
Same
same
one.
ones. So they already have a tremendous amount of the data and the collection.
Oh,
The
that's
collection of
great.
information's already been done, and so that we were able to get a much reduced rate because they don't have to duplicate the work all
That's
over.
great thinking to contact them. I didn't even think about that.
well, they did it for the Key Leader Summit. Those of us that went got to see it, so it was pretty impressive. A lot of discussion.
Yeah, so they anticipate to have it done for us by the end of the year. So we're ready to roll. Great. Tonight on the agenda is a topic for reinvigorating the foundation, and that's there because it was requested at the last meeting. So just a reminder for everybody that, the focus on population health initiatives, that will be an opportunity for this district following the affiliation transaction, is going to need a lot of community fundraising and grants, and so this creates a great opportunity for the entity that is the foundation and the entity that is the district to do a lot of collaborative work. And so the opportunity for a liaison role from each board certainly is something to be thought about, and really has been brought to light by Emma. She's highlighting where that opportunity lies. So on the agenda tonight then is a board level conversation around that for you all to take at whatever direction you want to take. I can tell you that the foundation board was counseled to kind of down-regulate themselves as affiliation was approaching, and so that's why you see them really being very quiet at this point in time. So again, reinvigorating it for the purpose of the post-transaction world will definitely require, if not be assisted by having some form of a regular communication through the liaison. So just to give you some background as to why that's on the agenda tonight, and again, Emma having some really, some great creative thoughts and energy around that. Also on the agenda tonight is a proposal to reschedule the October meetings. October, in addition to all the things that we just talked about, that's going to happen in September around the affiliation of what's in front of us, but October is our budgeting month, and we are super compressed in that month, and have, because of the affiliation, we'll be constructing probably 3 different budgets. So our idea, if you agree with it, was to just consolidate ourselves into one meeting in the middle of the month as opposed to 3 meetings throughout the month. But again, that's the background that can be discussed more as you get into the agenda. And then the work study session that is later this month will be a really high-level financial overview of some post-transaction restart options. That was something that you all had requested, and so we will have that ready to go, just to go ahead and close that up as well. So I will stop talking at that point in time.
Okay. Are there any questions for Dr. McDowell?
Could you please clarify the post-transaction restart of options?
That's fine. We have a hard time knowing what to call that. And that was a request that had come from this group to say, what if in the years following transaction, the hospital were returned, hospital operations were returned into the district's responsibility? What might it cost, and what could it look like at that point in time? And so that's what we have to talk to you about, of some of the ideas that we've put together. Again, just for more for a reassurance that should it return, that there are plenty of options. Yeah, that's what that is. And so we've just dubbed it restart. So we're open to better terms. We tapped out ideas.
I don't know.
All right, any other questions? And we will move on to our council, General Counsel Skip Hauser.
Thank you, Madam President, and good evening, council members, commission members. You have tonight the opportunity to discuss the topic that keeps arising, is how to adjourn a meeting. So we're going to discuss what Robert's rules said, and then we're going to discuss a little bit about Robert himself. The ordinary practice in adjourning, as listed in Robert's rules, says that you close by adopting a motion simply to adjourn. It's a non-debatable motion, so you don't have to worry about discussing it. There's a motion. It must be seconded, though. If it's not seconded, it would die for lack of a second. And it's explained also further in page 240 and 241, which I've included at the bottom. It goes on to say, though, in the event of a fire, a riot, or other extreme emergency, the chair then could take time from vote on it and say, no, we're adjourning. You would not be required. That is the discretion of the chair, the president, because they believe it would be dangerous to those present They should declare the meeting adjourned to a suitable time and place. As you're running out the door, you give the next time and place, if able. If you're not able, then you just adjourn. Roberts, he thought of everything. Or to meet at the call of the chair, you could recall the meeting.
Well, back in those days, fires were prevalent all over the place. Fire alarms, you know.
So page 241 does give you the option that I think has been referenced before, is why are we asking for a motion? When it appears that there is no further business in a meeting of an ordinary local society, you do meet that definition, that normally goes through a complete order of business at each regular meeting, which you do, the chair, instead of waiting or calling for a motion to adjourn, can ask, is there any further business? If there is no response, you have to wait some moment of time, don't do it immediately, then the chair says, since there is no further business, this meeting is adjourned. So that can and is an option according to Robert's rules. Attached to your yellow page that you always get is Henry Martin Robert. And we've been talking about him now, I think going on for 2 years that I've been doing these monthly meetings for
Mr.
you.
Roberts.
And I wanted you to know a little bit about our good friend. He was an American soldier, born May 2, 1837, died May 11, 1923. He's also an author. He is the famed author in 1876 of Robert's Rules of Order. Why did he create this? He went to a church meeting and erupted into open conflict. He was voted chair. He felt so embarrassed about not how to run a meeting. He didn't know what to do and how to do it, and it was so disorganized that he vowed that I would create a procedure prior to coming to another meeting. He based it loosely on procedures used in the House of Representatives. Interestingly enough, Robert's Rules of Order is not used in any House of Representatives. It's not used in any state legislature. It's not used in Congress or anywhere else. They have their own set of rules. But Robert's Rules is most widely used, of course. He was born in Robertville, South Carolina. Isn't that interesting? Raised in Ohio, though, because his father was a Reverend Joseph Thomas Robert. He was opposed to slavery, so he moved from South Carolina to Ohio. And his father later became the first president of Morehouse College. Robert himself, Henry, actually his first name, we like to call him Robert, he then was nominated from the state of Ohio to go to West Point. He went to West Point, he graduated 4th in his class. He became a military engineer. Interesting, here's his connection with the Northwest. He came out here during the Pig War and was located on San Juan Islands and built fortifications there. And during the American Civil War, he was assigned to the Corps of Engineers. He worked on defenses in D.C., Philadelphia, and New England. After that, he then spent 2 years improving rivers in Oregon and Washington, came back out to the Northwest, and 6 years back in Green Bay, northern Wisconsin, and Michigan. And then he also worked on how to deepen the Southwest Pass of the Mississippi River. He became the president of the Board of Engineers. He received a tombstone promotion. Anybody know what a tombstone promotion is? I didn't either, so I had to look it up. What's that?
Posthumous.
It's not posthumous, but it's close. It's after you retire. So when you're done with your service, they gave him a promotion. So it's called a tombstone promotion. Already he's retired, and they gave him a promotion. The reason they do that typically is to increase your retirement pay. So we went from one star general to a brigadier general on April 30th, 1901. He was appointed the chief of engineers. He served until May 2, 1901. One of his greatest claims to fame was he chaired a board of engineers that designed the Galveston, Texas seawall after the Galveston hurricane in 1900. And this saved the city many times over, and they called him a local hero. He died in Hornell, New York, and he is now buried at the Arlington National Cemetery. So now you know all about this individual that we either curse or bless when we come together.
I'm
Yes.
intrigued because it was a church meeting, because Presbyterians are probably the closest thing in their governmental procedures. They use Roberts all the time. So it's
Now we
pretty
know.
interesting.
Emanated out of a church meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing.
A lot emanates out of church meetings, let me tell you.
It was in response to his poor performance.
Yes, he said, I was so embarrassed that I did not know how to run a meeting, and it was so out of control that he said it'll never happen again. So he went home and started working on his rules.
Misbehavior made your rules.
Okay, I gotta get organized here now with all this. Okay, so, Skip's done. Do I have a motion for a consent agenda?
Make that motion.
Second?
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll take it to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, then we have a consent agenda. That means that we've already done Approval of the minutes for August 8th, 2019, August 8th, 2019 regular meeting, August 28th, 2019 work study, and physician credentialing. And committee reports are next, and finance committee is at the top.
All right, may I proceed?
Yes, you may.
Okay, thank you. I did say that I was very happy and wanted to present this today because, you know, I've been looking at these reports and looking at monthly reports for probably 10 or 12 years. And actually, we didn't have reports much in the old days, I think.
No, but you have for the last 6.
But the last, since I've become the treasurer, we've had reports.
Yeah.
And the reason why I'm happy is, and really happy for the community and our organization, is because we have implemented several little avenues of revenue. And I'm told that and these avenues of revenue help people. And, you know, the reference lab is if more efficient and it's better service. And I mean, when you can make money and have better service, and it seems to me like it's really a win-win. And almost all of the 404, is it 430?
430B?
430B.
The 430, sorry.
430.
340.
340.
340B.
Sorry.
Because you're
That's
dyslexic.
340B program.
Retirement.
Yeah, that's the retirement.
We found little amounts of money, and not really little amounts, but they all combined have really made the difference between us looking good and looking poor, to tell you the truth. So I would say there's probably close to, these lines are probably going to be that, the reference lab, the sleep study, I mean, we're looking at, I bet all these little things, are probably close to $750,000. I'm just guessing, next year, probably $750,000 in revenue.
Okay.
I'm pretty good with, in my head, figuring some of this stuff
Probably a little high,
out.
but it's enough to be significant. It's a significant amount.
It is.
When you add it up.
And too, if patients start realizing, I mean, for me, I'm a UW person, I made my arrangement to have it here instead of going into the University of Washington.
Yeah.
So the MRI, I
So-
think, is a good choice.
The thing is all of the things that we're doing, and little by little, it's been, you know, gradually getting better for the last, 2 years for sure, is going to make us look pretty well and pretty inviting in our negotiations. And I think that Overlake is going to really be happy to take over operations and expand maybe a service or two here or so, and then have that continuum of care from here to there. So really high specialty types of operations can be done, obviously, at Overlake, but you still have to see the patient in the clinic. And that's what gets the person in, and that's what starts the whole process. Whether they do need additional care or not, it starts there. So, looking specifically at things, our imaging is up, and Dariel's in that example. But what's really happening is we have flexible hours. The intake is more efficient for people to set appointments up. And it just seems like that, all of our outpatient is up. If you recall, I think it must have been 2013, because I said we need to increase, we all said we need to increase outpatient. It's been a chore. It's not been easy, but we are increasing. We're looking at projected figures at or above in the inpatient side, daily census, emergency at or above budget. Rehab, well above 30%, potentially 25%, 20% maybe, above budget. Clinics at or above. Endoscopy, I would think that we're a little below, but I would think by the end of the year, it'll probably be about break even. That's when everybody has those procedures usually. And imaging, we're above budget, so everything, you know, I hope that we don't have some crazy storm that shuts us down for 3 weeks, but you just don't know. You don't know. And, you know, we could have a really bad year in the economy in a few years, which would lead to less swing bed patients potentially, recovering from surgeries. But if you look at, let's see here, the third page, well, you guys may not have it, but we're 31%, I'm looking at outpatient procedures, 31% above budget for rehab, 19% above budget, lab tests, 31% above budget, ultrasound procedures. I mean, you know, I'm giving you some information. We are below on the MRI, but we don't have it to be below by 14% means we're off by about 15 patients, so it's not significant. 20 patients. So 15, probably. Wanted to point out that I had Steve change the wording of the finance minutes because it didn't make sense to me. Does it make
Makes more sense now.
So, because I didn't understand, so I knew you folks wouldn't understand. But, in reality, our budget was supposed to be for the year to date a plus 40,000. We are actually at 118,000. And that's, I know that's not like, if you went to Overlake or Swedish or somewhere else, that would be like a couple of peanuts, right? But to us, to have that so late in the year, the above budget, is pretty phenomenal. I think it's going to probably be the same for this coming month, I guess. I think we have high census again. So, and then we have 3 more months left, and 2 of the months are 31-day months. So, so we're doing well because we have better volumes. We've been able to, remember we adjusted our bottom line, so to speak, for contractual adjustments based on a more accurate cost report that was done by Overlake. That what it essentially did was validate our report. So it wasn't our cost report, it was just validated what we had figured out. So one thing that I'm going to be working on with at the next finance meeting is our AR. I have a lot of questions that I've come up with. I spent some time researching, and I'm going to be asking lots of questions on AR, see what we can do there. One of the biggest reasons why we have a higher AR, accounts receivable, longer time period before we get paid, is we have a higher number of Medicare Advantage. And so if you look at, you may not have the chart, but we went from essentially 39 patients in February to 182 in July. And Medicare Advantage currently takes an additional anywhere from 2 to 6 more weeks to recoup the money.
They pay slower than they pay.
So that has definitely has an effect on our AR, and it has. You can see the AR is up. So let's see here. notes here. We're considering billing at discharge, which we just don't know if that's more efficient than billing on a cycle period or not. If we were a large hospital, we have maybe 100 similar patients that we could bill every day. And we'd have somebody billing every day. We don't have that. We have a few here, might be 10 in the middle of the month, 3 at the end of the month, whatever. But it's spread out, and I'm not sure if that would be an advantage, but we're looking at that. One of the things that we've done, staff has done, not me, is to allow United Health, which is the majority of all of the staff insurance, to provide them with access to everyone's billings with the appropriate firewalls and whatnot and HIPAA considerations so that they would actually be able to look at these billings quicker and maybe get something done quicker. So again, that's something I'm working with. I want to point out something that we were at around $4,000 per inpatient day at one point when we started this new hospital. We were getting reimbursed at a rate of almost $4,000 a day. We have become much more efficient. We're now at $2,600 a day. And what does that mean? It means it's a combined
4,000 a day to 2,600 a day.
2,600 now we're getting billed. The volumes are up, we're getting more efficient. Our depreciation on our building is going down, so we get less reimbursement. So there's, when I say more efficient, that means our staff. When we implemented the True Men standards that we implemented about a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago. We started about 2 years ago.
2 or 3.
A little over 2 years ago.
That's what I
Yeah,
thought.
pretty closer to 3, yeah.
Yeah, I
I
think
mean,
it's
we
closer to
wanted
3.
to 3 years ago, but I think we actually started in September or in the summer. Anyway, so in those 2 years,
Is it 2? Is it 2?
Yeah.
Really 2?
pretty sure of that.
Yeah.
So, you know, you got to commend the staff to accept these standards and do still a great quality job. So, without a lot of complaint. So.
Can I
which is really
piggyback
good.
on that?
Yeah.
When I came in tonight, there was a person putting all this stuff in the back of her car. And it was a patient that had been here a while, and he was very satisfied, very happy, and was getting ready to go out the door. And she said he had all kinds of good care. So they were happy campers when they left, not just because they were leaving, but because they had been good here.
So, you know, we've managed to keep the standards at a high level, yet become more efficient. And we save, you know, obviously the federal government money because they're not getting as much money, right?
Yeah.
And so that helps everyone, the taxpayer in general, I guess. I just don't have anything bad to say. Normally I do, but it's all good. So if there are any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer.
I have a question, and that is, well, it has to do with depreciation. In other words, one reason that figure has gone down, as you said, is because we have less depreciation.
Right.
So what percentage of the reduction is due to less ability to depreciate?
I don't know about the percentage, but I mean, we depreciate interest on all of our bonds, And any interest on like lease agreements or anything like that, so.
It's mostly the building.
That's, yeah.
But it's
The-
mostly the building.
The depreciation of the building is going down. Go forward, you ask me how much I have to.
I guess all I'm saying is that it's good that we're making some efficiencies, but the fact of the matter is, if we could depreciate more, or when we were depreciating, we would. And it's just that we can't now, because it's not there. Isn't that right?
Well, we have to
Kind of.
buy more capital assets to be able to depreciate.
Yeah, kind of. When we moved into this facility, we had something done, it's called a cost segregation study. And the purpose was that we would, instead of depreciating the building and everything in it over 30 years, we say, okay, how fast does wallboard wear out? Well, it wears out in, maybe it's not, but 10 years. How fast does carpet wear out? It wears out in 8 years. So we, in essence, increase the rate of depreciation on some of the assets to build up cash early on. David is right on that. That advantage will go away in about 10 years or so. We plotted it out, but it was perfectly legitimate to do. Businesses do it all the time.
Yeah, I understand. I was just
And
curious
it
as
helped
to,
us with cost-based reimbursement.
in terms of efficiencies achieved, how much of the savings from $4,000 to down to $2,600 now per day is attributable to the fact that depreciation has?
Not much.
Not right now, but it will
Not
be in
much. The
5
majority
more
of
years.
the increase in efficiency, in the decrease in the cost of our payment for Medicare, which is the result of efficiency, is efficiency. It's the implementation of the benchmarking program that we did 2 years ago, which is why I wrote it out. And that has helped, because we were looking and we said, okay, we have a budget, and that's measuring ourselves against ourselves. But let's look at what other healthcare institutions do, and let's become as efficient as we can by learning from others. We put that program in place.
I just want to add, compared to a 30-year mortgage, in the first 5 years, you don't even think that you've even
Yeah.
paid anything off on the house. You
And
know?
now you're starting to pay some off.
You know, so you need to pay a little bit more after 5 years and a little bit more after 10, but when do you pay the most up? The last 5 years. You know,
Yeah,
so
that's true.
That's,
Thank you.
Any other questions for finance?
David, Commissioner, could you maybe touch on the investment income? Is this the normal monthly actual dollars?
those are probably the bonds that we purchased,
The investment
our
income?
investment bonds,
Okay.
investment, I would think, and that we,
That's right. I mean,
So that's
yeah,
a lot.
we have
Investment.
purchased bonds,
Mhm.
and we get some investment income, roughly about 2 to 2.5%, versus money market, it's, like 0.2. So
Nice.
we only purchase very secured government-backed securities.
And as I recall, we had somebody come present that
Yes.
to us.
Yeah.
That was something that we all heard and made a choice that we were.
yes.
We use an investment firm called
Okay. Yes.
TVI,
Yeah.
which specializes in government-backed securities for municipalities to invest in.
Okay, any other questions for Commissioner Spikers? We will go on to medical.
Approval of
Oh, approval of
warrants.
warrants, yes.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Important.
At this time, I'm asking to approve the warrants in the total of $2,791,029.91.
I make a motion to approve the warrants of $2,791,029.91.
Okay?
Is there a second?
I second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll go to vote. All those in favor of approving the warrants, say aye.
Roll call vote, please.
Roll call. Well, okay, anyhow, Commissioner Pollard?
No.
Jim?
Yes.
Spiker?
Yes.
Emma?
Yes?
And I say yes.
That would be approved, correct?
Yes, that approves the warrants, they pass. Okay, next is medical committee. Okay, I yield to Commissioner Jim Parker. Carter, sorry.
Oh, well,
To
thank you,
give the
Commissioner
report.
Herron. I'm going to do my
Wow,
first
this is your-
report.
Okay.
Right on fire.
I know,
Right.
I'm very excited.
Yeah,
Had about
excited.
30 seconds notices. Start with community events. Dr. Whitcomb already talked about the Snoqualmie Block Party and Doggy Stock, where we had our presence there. 2 afternoons for sports physicals. What is SRMC?
Snoqualmie Ridge Medical Clinic.
Thank you. I should know that one. I thought it was a school. And then we've got our community health needs assessment proposal received, so moving on that. System-wide at the hospital, flu shots are ready to go. The flu is in-house. The flu immunizations are in-house, and staff immunizations will begin October 1. The temperature monitoring replacement solution is also in place, and the team is working on gathering up all the data that they need from previous systems in case there are questions about that during surveys. And then also the educational advancement celebration that we already talked about, where we had 47 staff members that either completed or started a continuing education course or a degree course. So congratulations again to them. For our average daily census, 2019 budgeted was 22.8, August 24.2, but August year-to-date 22.9. What's the difference between August 2019 and August 2019 year-to-date?
That is just the month of August, and then it is all the months of
Yeah.
the year
All the months.
through
Year
August.
to
Oh,
date.
through
Year-to-date.
year, oh, year-to-date.
Year-to-date.
Oh,
To the
okay.
end of the month.
Thank you,
Yeah.
thank you. Visit volumes, 2019 budget is 10.8, and then month of August 11.1, and year-to-date up until August 11.2. We are going to be the host site for the WRHC education session on safe deliveries, October 25th, which is going to be underwritten by Physicians Insurance. Infection prevention. We've finished our trial of disposable isolation gowns and working on transition to using those, and trialing disposable sheets, where the first round of the first design did not work so well. We went back with some feedback to the company, and they are taking that feedback and implementing a new design. And new design will be on its way. So are we trialing the new design already? It came?
Should be here. Okay.
Oh, that's exciting. So that's very cool to be part of that iterative process. I love it.
I recall a couple of months ago, or 3 months ago, when we started to experiment with those. Yeah, you talked about.
Yeah,
It's still trialing.
I love it. I love
We're
that.
happy to trial the free sheets.
I love they took our suggestions to the drawing board and they're trying again. I think that's awesome. Also trialing some washable keyboards that will be coming later this month. The Sound Medical Collaboration for Reference Lab is starting strong, and the DOH survey of the lab also went well, where we had excellent performance and findings were either already corrected or will be corrected by the end of the month. Under clinics, the Sleep Center is fully launched, and we've received our certification and our HCA Certificate of Excellence. Payer credentialing with a few remaining health plans remains. And then we've got our psychiatric nurse practitioner that's coming thanks to a grant. Should I just read this one, or should I continue just skipping through? I'm just going to read this one, okay, instead of just summing it up. So this grant received to support integration of behavioral health into primary care via telemedicine to improve clinic disease management. Benefits for us are the salary is being sponsored,
And we also have resource tools for recording chronic care management services to expedite billing and funding for the telemedicine infrastructure. We are also designing an occupational medicine service line. The concept is for service delivery to local businesses like pre-employment testing, drug screens, work-related injury. We already do all of these things, but now we're going to package them as a service. A number of medical staff recommendations on status changes or updates. And then we've got our friends from Olympia will be visiting the House Healthcare and Wellness Rural Health Tour. We'll be stopping at our hospital on the 24th. Members of the House will be coming for a tour. And our next meeting is going to be October 1st, 4 to 5 in the East-West Conference Room.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the medical committee? Yes, Commissioner Pollak.
Within the last few days, the president has announced his support of a ban against flavored vapings. And I was wondering, I'm just thinking about what is our duty or opportunity to communicate to the public about the hazards of vaping, especially for the young people, because people are dying of that. People are on respirators. It's a very serious problem. And I'm just thinking about our duty. One of our goals is to be the healthiest nation, community in the nation, etc., from our work sessions and so forth. But at any rate, what is our duty, obligation, or opportunity to communicate more to the public about such health issues?
And so the state of Washington just had their first experience with a young person who had severe respiratory issues from vaping. So yes, it is in our midst. And so there's an expectation that the health department, that Jeff Dushin is going to put a public announcement out. And so as soon as that comes, because we like to wait for it to have a consistency with the message that goes out, and that's exactly what we use our social media profile for, and our Facebook to get information out exactly like that.
It appears that it's going to have national support,
Yes.
which will make it a lot easier. The other thing, Madam Chairman, and that is the flu shots are starting to be talked about now, and Walgreens is offering free flu shots. Again, what is our duty, obligation, opportunity to remind people to get their flu shots?
Exact same way. The social media profiles are already up and going. We've already designed them, and they'll be going once a week in October, late September, once a week in October, and then on in through November.
And as I recall, in the past, it's been on our webpage. Don't we say something about it on the webpage? Yeah.
And all the sites that we go out and administer in the community as well.
That's all the questions I have.
Thank you.
I have a follow-up on Commissioner Pollard's question. When we do student physicals, do the doctors ask, about alcohol use, tobacco use? Do we ask also, do you vape?
Code trauma, ED room 2.
No.
Code trauma, ED room 2. Code trauma, ED room 2.
That's deploying resources
Yes.
elsewhere. They don't need me. Sorry, I was thinking about.
Do you vape?
So the sports physicals, I just want to make sure that the sports physicals here, that's a very prescriptive thing that you go through. But annual physicals, yes, we do.
Okay.
Yeah, so we, our template asks down to, I think, 10 years old.
Oh, really?
There's smoking, using any tobacco products, yeah. And also any drugs, so at that age group,
Yeah.
we ask questions like taking medications out of cabinets that don't belong to you.
Do we ask specifically about e-cigarettes and vaping?
Yes.
We do.
Yeah, so when they answer yes to the smoking question, then it opens out and asks very specifically what that is.
Thank you. Okay. I don't have any questions. I'm done with my update. Any
It's
other questions?
interesting, because I would think there would be youth that would just outright lie
Sure.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I mean, the best we can do is ask. That's all you can do. Because I know. Having boys, I know. Okay, Facilities Committee, and that would be, anybody else have any questions? Okay, then Facilities, I'll move on to Facilities Committee. Update on the certificate of occupancy. I can't believe this is taking so long. Benaroy's as-built survey is almost completed, and the city survey will then need to go through the site based on the drawings to determine if it is current and accurate, has a current and accurate punch list. Day room, there's been no changes, but the weather has not been cooperating. The resolution is still being worked on. It has to do with how cool it is. And if the curtains are closed, the room temperature stays consistent and comfortable, but this is not ideal since it blocks the view of the mountain and makes the room fairly dark. And a lot of people really like that view when they're working in that room. Making the hospital a community place. You can see we have Encompass board meeting. I don't know if you all know what Encompass is, but it's a family support group, a group that helps with autistic children and things like that. CarePoint Clinic, they have a monthly leadership team meeting on the second Tuesday, Snoqualmie Rotary on the third Thursday, and tentative Daisy Girl Scout Troop. And they have been here before and said hello to us. We have new business, which is access through the East Campus property. Scott Novak reported that the owners of the property next to the East Campus property are looking to start planning the development of their site. The owner is an RV storage company and have requested permission for access through the gate to which their property, while they are in the spring early planning phase. This will have no impact on the district. Once development would actually start, a formal agreement will need to be reached. So right now, we've said okay until. I'm not surprised.
No impact? Are you kidding me? Putting an RV storage next to a property?
No.
All they're doing is the owners just saying, can we just get in there to do some of the things to explore if we're even going to put an RV park in? That's
Yes.
all. There's no access now for any, there's not even a project plan yet.
I would be very
It's just-
reluctant to even think about having an RV storage site next to that property, ever.
I can't imagine that zoning would allow it.
We don't get to control it other than not giving them access.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's exactly
So,
right.
So again, right now, all they're doing is that owner driving his pickup truck in to take a look at it.
I'm curious that zoning would allow that. Are you sure about the zoning? You can challenge the zoning of that, right?
It's, when the time comes, this is a guy who's asked to drive his truck.
Not to leave it there.
It's just, no.
Yeah. It's not going to get dark in our
Somebody
property.
No.
No,
that's not, that's a big.
Is this on the one that was just to the south of us? The site to the south of us,
I-
with the Pacific, whatever, owned?
that Western
Western,
Electric,
Western.
yeah, I don't know which of the sides it is.
Well, maybe we get a little more information on that.
We can do that.
Yeah.
Okay, we can do that, can't we?
From what we've heard already is the conversation they had was grand.
It
and-
was.
And it was pretty clear to us, there were like things like, that's not gonna work.
I probably don't think that they could do it just because they'd have to clear the site for parking vehicles under the code. You cannot have a vehicle on grass. It has to be on a
Gravel.
approved
Water
surface.
and these are huge.
Anyway,
Anyhow, so the next meeting will be Monday, September 23rd, 2019 at 8:30 in the East-West Conference Room. Old business, board retreat. It's been delayed till January 2020. Foundation reinvigoration, Dr. Cup, do you want to say something about that? Or do you?
Yes,
Emma?
again, the foundation is, we need to resurrect it. The last registered agent information was Mr. Thomas Parker, which should not have been the case, because he should not have been
The hospital should not have been involved in the foundation business. But I
Correct.
believe the reason it did that is to make sure that we are activated, to submit all that information that is needed in order for our foundation to stay active, although right now, there are some, we are delinquent, we're showing that we're delinquent in some of the reports that should have been due to be submitted 8/31/2019.
Wait, Emma?
August 31st, 2019, we should have submitted a report.
Not we.
And I don't mean the,
No, no, the
I mean the
foundation.
foundation. When I say, I don't, yeah, better be specific.
Who's
Yeah.
the foundation?
So, right now, the governors, the bylaws has not been amended, and all the foundation board term have all expired. Therefore, it is nil, I guess. But, so we need to, Dr. Whitcup and I discussed about purpose, and she did mention it here. The focus will be on population health post-affiliation. And so we talk about having a liaison between, the board and the foundation board to continue the discussion, the conversation. So, and I think last time Commissioner Spiker did ask, who's going to take the lead on this? And I volunteered, I said, I'll do it, I'll be the liaison for it. Although after that, we don't have to be involved unless, of course, an executive director is now compensated. But for the time being, there will be like volunteer that would be helping, take the lead on this.
We don't control it, it's a separate entity, correct?
Correct, it's
Yeah.
a separate.
And is it
entity,
registered with
although
the state?
It is registered with
And
the
it's
state.
updated with the registration with the state?
It is, although we are on a delinquent status because there's some stuff that there still need to be.
So we haven't done everything we need to do. And it's not us.
Oh, no,
It's
it's
not
not
us.
us, yeah. And so this is something that need to be looked further into and discussed and get into the conversation again.
Is that not something that they should have a president or somebody
Well,
responsible?
we have to we have to resurrect it again.
Well, we
Yeah.
shouldn't have to
Because-
resurrect, they should resurrect themselves.
I mean, I don't mean it, but somebody will have to resurrect it,
Yeah,
okay?
Yeah.
I think originally this foundation was the masterpiece of Mr. Roger, the previous CEO,
Yeah.
McCollum, sorry.
There you go.
And I don't know how that got into that mix where the hospital got involved. I guess because the executive director was compensating Eric at the time, I believe. He was the
I remember Eric,
executive
yes.
director, so it's so convoluted, so I think
Well, it was
we'll
Scott,
have to
it was
start.
Scott first and then Eric.
Oh, was
But
it Scott first and then Eric? Okay.
The district was involved to get it launched,
Right.
yeah. And
Yeah.
then set it
So,
free.
but the conversation continues, so that's where we are right now in order for us to post-affiliation to start I would like to see it as the Snoqualmie Valley Health Foundation. And the foundation will help manage our mission of looking into what we can do to continue our delivery to our community, our taxpayers, looking into population health and the social determinants factor of it. So that's something that we could look further into, and the foundation board, hopefully, will help, develop some of that for our own mission that we
The
are charged to
hospital's
do.
mission is what you're saying, the hospital's
Yeah.
mission that we have?
No, the mission, our role as a board
As
to make sure
commissioners.
that, yes, as commissioners,
As commissioners.
post-affiliation.
Okay.
Yeah, that is once we get out of the operational.
Do you want to say something?
I can just give you a brief update that earlier this week had communications from Jim Schaefer, who's actually the one who's currently doing the residency role. And so they're in the process of submitting the documentation that will take them out into enlist status.
Yeah, that's what you said, yeah.
So they, to keep
For
them
Jim.
from dissolving.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so,
All right, anything else?
I wanted to, yeah.
Will there be elections for repopulating the board, or the previous members gonna continue their service, or what?
I don't know if that will be, it depends, I guess. That's why the liaison need to find out more about whether those existing, if they are, but their term has expired, whether they want to continue. Otherwise, we may have to populate the board the way I look at it, because we are not representing all our constituents. The board, all of us, the foundation board will have to look into the different leaders in their community, for example, in Falls City, North Bend, Carnation, Snoqualmie, Snoqualmie Pass, and Preston, to be represented on the foundation board. That way we are meeting our obligation
To the whole,
to the whole district. Because right now there's 3 in Snoqualmie, 1 will be to Falls City later on, and of course Preston. So we don't have North Bend and Carnation. So I think to be fair to all our constituents, I know in Commissioner Joan was still the commissioner, she always says, oh, you know, the Carnation, our city of Carnation always gets left out in the mix. So. And North Bend is another one, but we don't have one. So this is the idea that I think that we all should look into to make sure that we are getting the community engaged and be more involved and help us with the mission of looking into the quality of our delivery, rather always, having to give it to somebody else.
I think a foundation is a great way to reach out to the
Yeah.
community, and especially when you get different leaders in the community involved, then you're more successful.
And of course, if you're looking at the people that would have been a member, they have to bring in a set of skills that's very critical in order to be successful. Number one, of course, the biggest role of the foundation is raising funds. Fundraising is really critical. And number two, they have to have very strong grant writing skills. And number three, they have to have very strong, well-connected, in the community, strong, highly influential in that, whether it's political, private, or other stuff. I think those are the skills that we will be looking for to help us.
Sounds good.
Very good.
Sounds good.
Yeah, thanks for doing that.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, so I like your whether you are approving that I would be the liaison to start this whole foundation.
I'd make the motion right now. Come
I'll
on.
second that. There you go.
Do I hear a motion?
I do. I hear it right now. I make a motion that Ellen become the liaison for the
The
foundation.
foundation from the board.
Yeah.
Do I hear a second?
A second.
Is there any further discussion? I think it's an awesome idea, Emma.
Thank
And
you.
I wish I had half your energy, my dear. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous.
All right.
Okay. You got
Thank
yourself
you,
another job, girl.
Commissioner. Thank you. No, we'll have some help from the community.
All right. Okay, so now we are on the board evaluation approval and adoption of the evaluation tool. And everybody has gotten a copy, yes, no, yes?
Oh, yes.
Okay. So do I hear a motion to adopt this? Have people taken time to
Oh,
look
no,
at
not
it?
yet, not
Just
yet.
look at
Hold
it.
on, hold on.
I like it.
Oh, that's nice.
Okay.
It's very,
I make a motion right
Well, I
now.
guess we're not supposed to make a motion quite
Uh-oh.
yet, but we do want to talk about it. Does anybody have any comments? Commissioner
Okay.
Pollard?
Under new business down below, it said action items none. That means we're not supposed to make a motion on this tonight?
Error.
That's an error. Just trust it.
Scratch
Oh,
non.
That's a
non-
scrivener error.
Evaluation and not
Correct.
process.
Clerical
Oh, I
error.
see. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay. So, all right, where are we? We are at board evaluation. So we did have a motion? Yes, no?
I have a motion. Wait a minute, you've got to get to public comment first.
Public comment first. Let's
okay.
You got
public-
rescheduling of the
Public comment.
board.
We got, all right, board evaluation, we said that's new business. Board, in the process, we're gonna go on. Reschedule October board meetings, including work study session. To propose date right now is October 17th. Everybody got
October
this
2nd,
down?
22nd.
It's a reschedule.
So it's gonna reschedule.
Reschedule.
Just
Yeah.
the morning
Hold
and
on.
afternoon break.
October 17th.
January?
Let's see, I just have September.
What's that?
right?
October.
Hold on, President Norris, you'll be interested in this one.
I'm listening.
October 17th is the candidate forum for hospital commissioners at the club at Snoqualmie Ridge.
Oh, that's right, next,
What day is that?
January.
Wednesday, isn't it?
October 17th.
oh, that's next month.
Is it a Wednesday?
It's a Thursday.
Thursday. And you know, I told, what time?
7:30?
I told her there's no way we're gonna be able to get there.
They changed the date
Sep-
to a non-meeting day, but the day that we're proposing, unfortunately, is that time. So-
But this is 4 to 6 p.m.
Yeah, and it's 6:30 to 3.
4 to 8:30.
It's 4 to 8:30. so
Oh, I'm sorry. Wait a minute.
No, she's talking about the,
It's
The
for.
reschedule of the date is scheduled, oh, okay,
we're
I see.
October
rescheduling,
17th.
including the work study date.
I got it now, I'm learning.
All right, so let me read
Okay,
this.
that
Reschedule
works.
all October board meetings, let's see, including the work study session to propose date of October 17th, affiliation work study and work study at 4 to 6, and then a regular board meeting 6:30 to 8:30.
Will not work.
So the proposal was the 17th, then this was to figure out would it work, and so we're seeing.
This worked for
So
me.
we need to come up with an alternative
Yeah, no, it's for me,
proposal.
but
It's up to people how they're gonna prioritize their time. I know that there's an election coming up and some people are in a contested election, so if we wanna make it easier for people with that decision, maybe we propose a different date. Maybe the 16th? No, Snoqualmie Citizens Academy.
15th. What time is the candidates for?
7 o'clock,
We can
Oh,
just
7
probably
p.m.
move up.
7 PM.
We
Oh,
might
okay.
be able to move up the time rather than,
And
why
which
don't we
date
do
did
that
they
so we
do that?
don't,
Just do it earlier?
just do it earlier. I think that's the best way to handle it right now. Don't want to change it.
Earlier is fine with me.
Yeah, earlier is fine with me.
Okay, so
Earlier
we're
is fine
talking,
with me.
all right, so what day are we talking about?
The
October
same.
17th?
Yeah,
Okay, and we want it, that's the third,
that's a third Wednesday, Thursday,
What
that's our
time?
No, it's not our normal.
it's not our normal.
You want it at, starting at 3?
Oh, wait. October 3rd is the first
That's our
Thursday.
affiliation.
The 10th is the second Thursday, and the 17th is the
Third
third
Thursday,
And we meet as a board on the
second
second.
Thursday.
So we're moving the second Thursday
To the
and
third.
the last Wednesday, both of them,
Combined.
shoving them together in the middle of the month. And the proposal is the 17th, but then the proposal really is about shoving them all into one day, just to free up some space for everything that's going on.
Well, let's start,
Why don't we do it all on the 23rd then, if we already were scheduled to have the hospital work study on the 23rd? Let's have the regular board meeting on the
That's,
23rd.
no, that's Wednesday.
that's really close to the budget meeting.
Oh, okay.
How about a meeting on the 15th, Tuesday, 15th,
I can do that. October,
rather than that Thursday? Yeah.
Tuesday instead of Thursday.
You know what your schedules
Well,
are?
moving up the time is not a problem. As long as you get out of here by 6:30 to make it to your candidate forum.
Yeah, but I have a day job, and so I prefer to do it in the evening, but if everyone else can do it that time on the 17th, then I can too.
I can do it on the 15th too. Or the 16th. I'm free 15th, 16th, or 17th. I'm good with any of those days.
I can do 15th, and I can do 17th if I have to.
I can do 15 and I can do 17.
Okay. Commissioner Pollard, you can do 15th?
15th.
All right, President
My
Morris, can you do
preference,
15th?
15, that's a
Wait a
Tuesday.
minute, Dr. Pickup, can you do the 15th?
Yeah,
Oh,
I
good.
can,
Dr.
I
Ricketts
think I
says
can.
yes.
This is not why I keep all my information. Mine's on my computer at all.
Oh,
Okay, so we're gonna,
We can walk away with it tentatively on the 15th until we
Yeah.
have a chance to communicate.
okay, how about if we do that? So that will be a board meeting then that night? Okay, October 15th?
What time on the 15th? Same time as our affiliation work study?
I think that was the proposal to try and just stick at least consistency for times.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, that's fine.
So the 6th.
The 15,
Starting at 4?
Down here it says
4:30,
It
right?
says 4 here, it should be 4, 4:30.
We'd
Oh,
said,
let's stay
we'd said
consistent.
we can do
Consistent,
1:30.
4:30s, yeah.
Okay, 4:30. Okay. All righty. And do we need to vote on this? I assume we do. We can also vote on the regular board meeting.
Just you can say, is there
Yeah,
any
we just
objection
changed
to
it. Yeah, so now
You
it's
just, you need to meet your notice requirements. But
Oh,
You just got, yeah, you could have more than 24 hours.
okay. Okay.
as long as there's consensus, and I think, Madam President, you could say unless there's any objection, we'll make
Yeah.
those changes.
Is there any discussion, any more discussion? Is it all right with the board if we go ahead and approve change?
I make a motion to approve the change to the October 15th,
second?
beginning at 4:30 until we're done. Could be a little more than that day, so.
Okay. Okay. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second.
Oh,
It's been
okay.
seconded. Commissioner Foster.
Mr. Palmer.
He seconded.
I got that.
All in favor?
I want to say, if everybody quit talking, I could say something. All in favor of changing the date to October 15, 4:30 PM, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? There's none, it's unanimous. And so we will make that change. And the clerk has that correct. Thank you, ma'am. All right, next is public comment. And seeing as there's no public here, not that you boys aren't, but
We go to our board.
we will skip that part.
All right?
And, all right, our action items are board evaluations. That's what we want to do next.
Mhm.
I make a motion to approve an adoption of the evaluation tool.
I second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll put it up for a vote. All those in favor of using the board self-assessment for our tool, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It was unanimous? Great. Okay, so we have that. And when are we gonna do next? Okay, board evaluation, adopt process, select a date, submission, and complete celebration, or for submission of completed self-evaluation and date for review of de-identified summary responses. Okay, so what are we going to do for process? Do we want to accept this process under a new business number 2?
Why don't we just submit it at the next meeting?
How do we do
Work
that?
study.
So that date for.
Do we email
Do you have
them
pieces
and
of paper? Do you want to do it by survey monkey? Do you want to do it email? Do
These
you
are
want
good,
pieces of paper?
they're here, let's just do them and hand them in on the 25th, or the next board meeting.
Is that what you want to do? Okay.
So we're all here, make sure you bring it, and when we're done.
Bring it all
the
done?
first soft copy? Should
Okay.
we email them?
Okay, all right, that's,
Since this is a draft, will this be considered official?
This is self-evaluation, so it's whatever you want.
It's for our own
Okay.
tools.
For our
Yeah,
own
yeah.
tool,
This
okay.
is-
So
you got it.
we'll respond to this particular
and you
document.
don't have to
Oh,
do
okay.
it. You can-
Nah.
Yeah.
Oh,
This is
you
not,
got one.
this is for us, but at the same time, it's for us as a group.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Right.
So you don't have to put your name on it, you just do it, and then we turn it in. We'll get the data
Compile it.
collected, compile it, come up with an average, and yes, ma'am.
Everyone knows what this is but me, I think. Is this something we do every year?
We should, we don't always, but
Okay.
we should, and we also, yeah. we-
Okay.
Yeah.
So we will respond to this particular draft, correct?
So you
Miss
don't put your name
Madam
on
President.
this? Or-
If you don't, you can if you want to.
Well, yeah, but it's not designed to be accountable, so when the question is, I consider myself an asset to the board, et cetera, then that could come from anyone without any identification.
Well, and maybe,
And everybody
you know, it's
can
whether,
say-
if everybody's taken the time to look at it and they liked it, then that's what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Let's go with it.
Great, okay, thanks, Commissioner Pollard.
So I'm just checking in, so that at the work study later this month, you want us to have an envelope or something that
Yeah,
they get
that's fine.
collected in?
Okay.
And then what we'll do is have the envelope, it'll go to HR, and HR will be the ones who
Okay.
just
The tally.
do the
Tally.
tally, bring it all together, so that there's no handwriting recognition or what have you. And then the next time we're together, and then I'll have already given it to Daryl, and she can bring it back for you.
Yeah.
Does that work?
That works, that's exactly.
That
that's-
solves a number of problems I could raise. Yeah, that
Yeah,
solves
yeah.
any problem.
Perfect.
Okay, then that's what we'll do.
Wonderful.
All right, so we're done with that. We've rescheduled board meetings, we'll come up board evaluations, we've adopted the process, we've adopted the process. Now, we're scheduling all October board meetings, including work study sessions, to propose date.
Now it's October 15th.
October 16, affiliation work study.
We've already done
15.
that.
Huh, we've done that too?
We did that.
Okay. Guess what? For the good of the order, does, all right, the last thing we have on our agenda is good of the order, commissioner comment. Each commissioner shall have one comment period limited to 3 minutes. Who would like to go first?
Well, I would like to just say, I'll go first. I want to thank all my fellow commissioners for looking forward into the future, for us, to make sure that our affiliation process and all of this goes into fruition, and looking forward to rebuilding or resurrecting our foundation to support our mission. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, who's next? Should we, go ahead.
Huge congratulations to the hospital staff who achieved or started an education program, and kudos to the individual who arranged for the school fair to come and explain future opportunities. That was genius. Thank you to the board for indulging my absence on the 25th of September. I will be out of town on a business trip. I will return this in some appropriate way before that time.
Drop it off at the office. All right. Oh. Jane, do you have anything you want to say? Commissioner Pollard?
No, I have nothing to offer at this time.
Commissioner Spikers, anything you'd like to offer?
I think I said it all in my finance minutes. And then some.
Well, I appreciate that the board is patient with me when we go through this, because I feel like I have so many papers here and then I have to watch the agenda. So thank you for your patience. I really do appreciate that. First, before we adjourn, next scheduled meetings, Wednesday, September 25th, 2019, 6:30, North-South Conference Room. Affiliation work study will be Thursday. Oh, we just rescheduled on that. So what is it? 15. So it's October 15, 2019, also 6 o'clock. And then October 10th, regular meeting.
No?
Oh, October 10th. Well, I see. Yeah, both of them. Got it. Okay. Alrighty, so let's make it clear. Affiliation work study and regular meeting will be October 15th, 2019. All in favor say, all right.
No, your turn.
Are we adjourning?
I move to adjourn.
I second.
Very good.